Welcome back everyone, and hello. I've got my book. I've also got my therapy friends. So without further ado, shall we begin? Or go again should I say. And as always, there'll be no catch up because that's what the previous videos are for. It was found that an understanding of parent-adult-child early in the pregnancy helped the couple understand the source of some new, rather complicated, not at all positive feelings. Young people whose parents contain many urgent, undifferentiated recordings about intercourse and pregnancy should not be surprised that these recordings replay in this emotionally charged experience. The young couple, even if they have planned for and eagerly await pregnancy, do find they are subject to periods of unexplainable depression. A marriage license and Little White Cottage do not erase the old parent tape wherein I'm pregnant would be horrible news indeed. Nor does it change the parent tape for the husband which comes on in the old way to his realization that I got you pregnant. There are many other intense feelings associated with pregnancy which Gerald Kaplan refers to as a period of increased susceptibility to crisis, a period when problems of an important nature appear to be present in an increased degree. In addition to the external economic and social changes, there are internal changes, both metabolic and emotional. For mother, there is a new role, particularly if this is her first baby. There is the aloneness of labour and the loneliness of being home with the baby, particularly as she previously had been a career woman. And there is the new responsibility of structure and time. Now, before I count, I will say now, as this book was written in the 60s, men didn't go in and join their wives or girlfriends during childbirth. It was seen as unnatural and not a place for a man to be. Funny enough, today I saw a bit of an old sitcom called Some Others Do Have 'Em. I'm sure someone will know it. Anyway, this is in the 70s and the husband wishes to be in the room with his wife when she's given birth, and the doctors and nurses make it very, very clear that he is not welcome in that room because it just wasn't the done thing. It's just seen that he would be getting in the way and just wasn't what the man did. He did in the end. I believe if I remember rightly, he did force his way in and he got to be there for his wife when they had their child, which was nice. Looking back, sometimes I wonder if perhaps they put that in the show just to, get people talking about the idea of men actually being there for childbirth. Because I remember my dad said once, he said sometimes some of the stuff you see in, say, old 70s sitcoms was often quite controversial, but it got people talking. Much like how Rise and Dank got people talking about racism and thinking about it. Apparently Man About the House got people thinking about men and women living together and just being friends. Sharing bills and all that. Apparently so, anyway. I wasn't about in the 70s, so I can't really answer that question. I was born in 1984. Which is a lifetime ago now. Anyway, before I get suckered in too much of a tangent, I'm going to carry on reading. There is also a profound realization for a woman having her first baby that she will never be a little girl again, that she has passed beyond the pale into the older generation. She is now a mother. I feel that. I passed into the older generation. I can't go back, no matter how much I may want it. This is the same kind of sentiment over the shortness of life and the irrevocable passing of time which makes people cry at weddings. Sacramental moments in life, while opening doors to the future, close the door on the past, and there is no turning back. Well, yes, there is no turning back to the past. Believe me, if I could cover the past, I'd probably be the first one to do so. But I'd probably screw that up as well. These are the feelings of the young mother too, by the way. Just so you know. Sometimes these feelings become so depressive that there develops what is called a postpartum or after-birth psychosis. In these cases, the child becomes so overwhelmed that the boundary breaks down, allowing for complete contamination of the adult. Mother cannot handle her own overwhelming needs and is totally incapable of caring for a baby. One patient whom I saw first in an acute episode of postpartum psychosis following the birth of her first child was able to leave the hospital after 3 weeks after being introduced to parent-adult child. She was able to assume the care of her baby, and her adult grew strong as she continued coming to group treatment. The real test of this strength came at the time of her second pregnancy 2 years later. Knowing what she had been through before, she proceeded through her pregnancy with a great deal of apprehension. Excuse me. Itching like crazy. But she was able to discuss this apprehension in parent-adult-child terms with her obstetrician. The fact that two doctors, one an obstetrician and the other a psychiatrist, both talked the same language was in itself reassuring. She delivered her child and remained in good spirits throughout the postpartum period. It is not uncommon for the postpartum psychosis to recur with every pregnancy. There's nothing I'll really add to that because I'm not a mother. If you're a mother, let me know. Does this ring true with what you're saying? Of course, if you don't have to share, you don't have to. No, there's literally zero pressure because if you say nothing, then I'll never know. But if you are happy to share some comments with me and the other viewers, then do so. Would be appreciated. Excuse me. These then are some of the things which can be understood and overcome by parent, adult, child. As husband and wife are able to use their newly acquired language, they both share in the excitement ahead. Aylmore reports that if the doctor can use his adult, it is easier for the husband to become a father. The parent-child relationship between some obstetricians and their patients essentially excludes the father. Mother and doctor seem to be involved in an activity in which they claim exclusive expertise, and husband is left to chain smoke in the waiting room. Most modern hospitals allow the husband to be with his wife and assist her during the hours of labour. Okay. You can probably scrub some of what I said earlier. And some, but not all, allow him in the delivery room. Aylmore reports that in his practice, the father-baby system gets going early. The husband becomes involved in what he can do to help during labour. How can he massage and relieve physical stress? How can he protect his wife from the loneliness of labour? And how, in fact, she can rely on his adult even if in her own fatigue and apprehension, her child takes over. When a couple comes through a crisis like this together, the meeting of any other crisis in life has a precedent. If we did this, we can do anything. These fathers quickly talk about our baby, but mother and father feel good about themselves, and this is transmitted to the infant. These fathers are helped to recognise early in the pregnancy, as does Kaplan, that the pregnant woman needs extra love just as much as she needs extra vitamins and protein. This is especially so in the last few months of pregnancy and during the nursing period. During pregnancy, she often becomes introverted and passively dependent. The more she is able to accept this state and the more love and solitude she gets from the people around her, the more maternal she can be towards her child. Professional workers cannot give her the love she needs, but they can mobilise the members of her family, and especially her husband, to do so. In our culture, husbands and other relatives are often afraid of spoiling the expectant mother, and special efforts are needed to counteract this attitude. Being together for delivery itself is an ideal culmination for the couple that has been prepared. But even if the couple is apart during delivery, the introduction to parent-adult-child not only has helped them through their time of pregnancy, but also allows for maximum freedom from conflict that is essential to the early nurture of the new infant. The warm stroking mother is the mother who is free from the internal parent-child dialogue which evokes her not okay in herself. Her emancipated adult can hear the facts, can dismiss the old wives' tales, and can react to the spontaneous maternal feelings of wanting to hold and pet and caress without checking first to see if it's alright. One of the most commonly expressed parent ideas in the expectant parent groups is that you shouldn't pick up a baby all the time because you will spoil him. If this take comes on every time the new mother goes to stroke a child, it's clear there exists a conflict, which somehow will get through to the child. The adult in the mother can examine this bit of dogma and proceed with our own estimate of the matter, which will come closer to, if you baby a baby when he's a baby, you won't have to baby him for the rest of his life. I'm surprised I said that all the way through without one mistake. These terms, such as spoiling a child or breaking a child of habits, have always seemed to me so crude and cruel when applied to human beings that surely they were invented by some wicked fairy tale stepmother who lived in a dark, dark tower somewhere on the moors. See? The mother was a strong adult. The mother with a strong adult can handle the frequently loaded grandmother or mother-in-law situation in a way which will minimize the devastating cross-transactions. She can appreciate that grandmother has a parent-adult child too. Both P and C are vulnerable to being hooked, or her adult may tell her mother-in-law that they are having a maid in to care for the house and that she, the mother, will take care of her baby. Her adult can let the dust collect while she tends to the infant, even if her rich aunt Agatha is arriving with a present that very night. In short, the new mother and father have a choice in how they will proceed in bringing into existence this new precious unit, their family, which has a new baby and a new father and a new mother. One of the most helpful understandings in the raising of small children is awareness of the I'm not okay, you're okay position. The child remains afloat by virtue of the mother's okay. He feels not okay, but as long as she is okay, there is something he can hold on to. The value of a parental stroke for the child is exactly proportionate to the value the child sees in his parent. It is readily apparent that when mother's child gets hooked, and she gets involved in a child-child slugfest with Junior, he senses his world is in bad shape indeed. On the one hand is a not okay child, and on the other hand is a not okay child. If this contrastation predominates in the early life of the little person, the way is open for the establishment of the position I'm not okay, you're not okay, or in the extreme, I'm okay, but you're not okay. Okay. Trying to turn the correct number of pages here. Need 2 hands. Come on. There we go. I knew it would come through eventually. Excuse me. Got an itch. Okay. The mother and father, particularly the mother since she is the most influential parent in the early years, must be sensitive to the not okay child in themselves, until such time as parents, particularly mothers, develop the necessary sensitivity, perceptual powers and interest to apply such a tool as parent-adult-child to child rearing. We can expect that the malignancy of the not okay position will spread and grow worse. If a child in the mother has a strong not okay position, and it is easily hooked by such life hitches or obstacles or disappointments as the obstinate behaviour of a small child who also has a not okay child, the way is open for a takeover by the child in the parent, which triggers a regressive sequence of events with more and more archaic circuits taking over in a screaming game of mine is better, with mother winning the final round with I am bigger. It is easy to see that only through the adult can the little person learn more effective ways of living. But children might well ask, how do you develop an adult without having seen one? Children learn by imitation. One of the most effective ways a small child can develop his adult with increasingly strong circuits of control is to have the opportunity to observe his parent when the parent's child obviously has been hooked and is struggling to take over with an angry outburst. Control his child and keep his response adult, which is to say reasonable and considerate. Demonstrating what an adult is far more effective than defining what an adult is. This raises a question as to whether or not parents should teach their children parent-adult-child. Judging from reports of parent-adult-child schooled parents of young children, the child can understand the rudiments of PAC at a surprisingly early age, such as 3 or 4. Sorry, I just can't seem to hold this straight tonight. This can come about through the child's exposure to the transactional analysis of his parents. When parents are involved in analysing a transaction and are doing it with obvious relish, the small child gets the meaning of what is taking place. Many parents of 3 or 4-year-olds have been startled to hear the little one can come through with a remark with which he used the word parent and child correctly. And that, people, brings us to the end of tonight's video. Now, I know you all want more, but you just have to wait for next time, okay? So until next time, take care of yourselves, okay? Bye.